not Motrin, sorry, melatonin. You know, they got little melatonin tablets out there in these GNC stores and stuff like that. You know, our body makes melatonin. That's one of the reasons why we get sleepy and whatnot at night. And, you know, it's, you know, certain foods and stuff that you eat, you know, like protein when you're lifting weights and stuff like that. You know, us bodybuilders, we like to eat a lot of chicken, a lot of fish. We cut out on a lot of the carbs. So that means, you know, bread, no noodles, you know, we're supposed to be eating things to feed our body protein throughout the day. You know, your body can only process, 40 grams of protein every couple of hours, so you keep digesting it, you know, but, you know, he says it works, man. You might have to eat a lot of it, but, you know, I'm sure with that mind of yours, you know, it won't take too much, you know what I mean, to get you rolling. Yeah, I'm actually on the hunt for some down here this way. I've talked to quite a few of these steak houses that has actually sushi bars in them, and so far no luck. But they have heard of it before, and you know, I guess on a request of wanting to have it in their restaurant or something like that, that it might pop up on there. You know, just saying. So, if you're interested in unagi and you really want to try it, hey man, y'all go out here and check out some of these places, and when you find it, let me know, so that way we can all try it together and whatnot. You can throw in the comments on how it worked for you, because we know Jay be on with us here shortly. The mountains of North Carolina's getting hit with a pretty bad snowstorm. I've been keeping an eye on it for about 3 hours now. Up in Boone, they've gotten about 3.5, 4 inches of snow since 5:30 this morning. And here we are sitting right here mid-March, which, you know, it's not unusual for the high counties to get stuff like this. But, you know, you see a lot of people on these feeds or whatnot. I wish it was here in Charlotte. I wish it was here in Charlotte. No, go the hell away. No snow. It's springtime. Break out the flowers, the picnic gear, you know, let's go out here and have a good time on a nice sunny day, and let's not have no snow, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day. So, you know, I hope, like I said, we hope everybody had a great weekend. We know there's a couple of things we want to share this morning on a couple of things that we found. So, you know, everybody's got their own views on, you know, why there's not certain podcasts and whatnot in certain industries that we have here. And here's an interesting, everybody knows who Mike Rowe is. Mike Rowe is the guy that did dirty jobs, that would find the nastiest jobs, actually go in and actually work them, you know, to see what it's like. So here's a little bit of the Tucker Carlson show, to where they were asking Mike Rowe why we never see protest in trade schools.
Tucker's only doing one segment a night these days, so here's a recent conversation he had with Mike Rowe.
Mike Rowe, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, emojis.
Yeah.
There is a brand new assortment of emojis, a new typeface of emojis.
Yeah.
Teenagers across America are excited. I sense this is bad. I can't articulate why. What do you think?
Let's see. Well, as I understand ancient history, I think we started with hieroglyphics.
Yes. Cuneiform.
It appears as though we may have gone full circle. I mean,
that's true.
Look, I mean, I don't know how much righteous indignation we can whip up over the emojis, but I am troubled by their quantity. I mean, there are hundreds of these things.
Yes.
And they seem to have assumed every possible expression,
And it starts off as some emoji conversation, it does.
Every nuance of feeling seems to now be accessible in this endless pile of emojis. And I didn't know, there was that many, you know, emotions in the human condition. But now we have to choose which one to use to express ourselves and to whom and when. So I'm not sure we've simplified things at all.
It does seem like they're bypassing language. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have the biggest language in the history of language, English.
Yeah.
More words than any other language ever had. Why are people choosing not to use it?
I think again, just a theory, but I think this general assault on conventional norms of work, which we've talked about ad nauseum before, has kind of bled over into a kind of assault on the lexicon.
So it's like Velcro shoes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right. See, again, it's nothing to get angry about, but it's unnerving. It's disconcerting to look down and see Velcro when you expect laces.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a harbinger of the end of days, but it is troubling because you have to ask regarding emojis, what is next? I mean, just grunts? Interpretive dance? I mean, right, look, we don't,
dark.
Grown people are now communicating with texts that say, you are great, but great is GR8, right? I mean, it's like the language and mnemonics, we're all hooked on phonics again with now the little emoji things combined. I don't know what's happening, but if you want me to make a serious point, what about this? What if this slow degradation of the language is actually a component of the demise of soft skills? And
what are soft skills?
Soft skills are those things that allow you not to take a phone call during a job interview, to maybe pull your pants up, tuck your shirt in, show up on time. The basic things that many employers bemoan today that seem to be conspicuously lacking in much of the, what you call the employable people looking for jobs, right? They're not using their words to a degree that's making.
And that hits a point that Mr. Robert Lee said here just a few minutes ago. People are antisocial, can't communicate. Thus, we have emojis. That could not be any clearer of a message to say right there, Mr. Lee, is that, social media can work in a different amount of ways. We got a nice little crowd this morning because of social media, and, it can help us strive, and all of us entrepreneurs and stuff who are trying to start, organizations and businesses and stuff like this, not to just make a lot of money or to make money at all. I mean, for me, an Operation IGY6 is a way to bring people underneath one roof, so that way our veterans, our first responders, our freedom fighters can actually learn and see the help in front of their faces, and people have a good time and learn and be able to help educate each other. And like I said, to see the help face to face, so that way whenever they go home, they might feel a little bit better knowing that there's some extra help out there. But social media can also be a drag, because like what Mr. Lee has said, is antisocial. It's easier for somebody to throw up a mean face to show that they're pissed off rather than actually speak their mind. And then you got these keyboard warriors out here, as we so-called call them, some of these haters out here that are keyboard warriors, that if we were standing face to face, would you really have said that? Would you really be man or woman enough to have actually said what's on your mind and while we're standing there trying to have a conversation? Or is it one of those things that you would stand up and actually lie to somebody's face, or just be so embarrassed or so nervous that you wouldn't say anything, rather than, I'm up on social media, I'm going to send some emojis. I mean, you got the middle. I mean, there's so many emojis nowadays, it's not even funny. I bet that some people could actually have conversations just using emojis. Hell, we probably could. I could throw up a angry face and a middle finger and the little shit emoji and be like, hey man, fuck you, piece of shit. You see what I'm saying? To where, people are just, they're not using the words, they're not using their vocabulary. There's a reason why our parents and teachers told us to read as we were growing up. It's not necessarily, I never really found reading any fun unless I was grounded. Then I had to use my imagination, but that was the whole point. And I understood that as, one of the times that I was actually being punished, grounded for a couple of weeks, couldn't do anything. It's not like I did anything anyway, but I picked up a couple of books, and I actually read a couple of books, and I actually expanded my vocabulary a little bit, expanded my mind a little bit, and I understood, that's one of the ways that we work our mind. That's one of the ways we exercise our mind, is to read and write and stuff like that. And we are, Mr. Lee, we're losing a lot of that nowadays. It almost, there's times that I want to go sit in my kids' classrooms and actually see what it is that the teachers are actually teaching, the tools that they're using to teach our children, in school and stuff nowadays, of what is actually going on. What are you actually teaching our children? There's a lot of stuff out here, a lot of propaganda, a lot of stuff that people just don't pay attention to and stuff nowadays. We're starting to hear stories now from the Florida shooting that the sheriff thought that, the sheriff and the police department in that county had gotten previous reports of that young man being violent. And somebody actually called him a future school shooter or something of the sort. I was actually reading some stuff on BBC News about it. And, people are just quick to overlook it. The state of Florida is actually trying to overthrow this sheriff now because of shit like this. Stuff that the police department should have acted on. Now, I'll tell you real quick, and Jade be able to tell you too, that, one of the high schools here, I think it was last year, that she was talking about this, or it might have been this year, but somebody had threatened one of the schools here in Gastonia. And she's like, the hell with that. I'm not sending my kids to school. If I found out there was a threat on one of my kids' school, they would not be going to school for a couple of days. To make sure that the school and the police department and stuff has everything on lockdown. You think we'd have kids 1,000? Remember when you write single space lines? Right, something wrong. Do you think we could have kids write 1,000 lines in emoji? I will not tell a lie. Remember when you had to write single space lines when you did something wrong? I actually do, Robert. I actually do, man. It's funny. You sit there. I will not raise my voice to the teacher, or I will not backtalk my teacher. Or something to do with your parents. I had to sit there. I had to sit there and just write that shit over and over and over again. And then you get it to the point to where, okay, you number it 1 through 50 on one page, and you start with all the I's. I, whatever. Yeah. That, I think it would be more of a pain in the ass for kids nowadays to write it in emojis, because now you got to draw. Now it's going to take time. It's faster to write it out in words, if you could use your words rather than, the emojis. Just saying. Just saying. Mr. Rose, about soft skills. I was at the Waffle House. There you go. They were having interviews. It was ridiculous. A few were on phones during, and nobody even. Wow. Yes, that's crazy, Tony. Damn, Few people were on phones there. That's crazy. During the interview, too. Yes, Robert, that shit did suck, man. That shit sucked ass, having to do that stuff back in the day. But you know what? And I think that's one thing as far as parents and stuff that we can do nowadays is, we don't want our kids to be scared of us, but we want to be able to have it in their mind that whenever they go to second guess anything or go to do something, that they're like, oh shit, well, what if dad and mom finds out? I'm fucked. I'm going to be grounded. My car's going to get took away, or I'm not going to be able to go hang out with my friends. That's the shit that we had back in the day. Plus with some spankings. I don't know if anybody remembers, I forget the actual name of the school, but it was like Odessa, it was one of the Texas high school championships in football. And Carter High was the opponent at the end of the movie. Well, I actually watched the movie yesterday on Carter High. And, it's they actually still had, well, of course, they're portraying back in 1988, 89. So I was 9 years old. By then, they took the paddle out of school. But these guys in high school, with their football players, if they fucked up or done something wrong, they were getting a hard ass paddle up against the ass. It sucked what the school had to go